Who will it be? Which nation is best prepared to take on the world? To do battle against the best and claim world team show jumping supremacy at the Spruce Meadows Masters. Germany, the reigning Olympic and world champions, are confident, talented, and ready. They're led by Ludger Beerbaum, the #1 ranked rider in the world, for very good reason. Ireland, here to defend the title, an undertaking that will not be easy. A proud tradition of horsemen and quality horses, and Peter Charles, the reigning European champion and Irish lead-off rider. The Netherlands, deep in horsepower, seasoned with experience, veterans of the winner's circle in Olympic and Nations Cup competition. Looking to celebrate Holland Day at the Spruce Meadows Masters with a Dutch Street victory today. It would end a 15-year drought at Spruce Meadows. Great Britain, champions on 9 occasions. Awesome at Spruce Meadows over the last 2 decades. Looking to avenge an Olympic disaster. For Great Britain, victory is the only option. They will never surrender. Team Canada, the home team, in tough company against the best in the world. Hungry to get the job done over 2 demanding rounds. Led by show jumping legend Ian Miller. 75 Nations Cups, 7 Olympic Games, 2 World Cup titles. Never a team victory at Spruce Meadows. Is it in the cards today? The United States. Winners at Spruce Meadows on 5 occasions. Silver medalists at the Atlanta Olympics. At home with success. Now looking to strike gold in '96 with 4 veterans. With talent, experience, and competitive fire. The nations of the world unite to do battle in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup from the Spruce Meadows Masters. Team supremacy and international show jumping at stake today in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Hello and welcome to the Spruce Meadows Masters. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by Nancy Southern. Nancy, it's really one of those feature days in sport. The 6 superpowers of show jumping are here.
A global showdown. Today in the $200,000 Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Every nation has something to prove. The Germans want to hang on to that gold medal feeling that they've come off of after Atlanta. And of course the American team, the silver medal team from the Olympics, want to move up the ladder. Canada's never won on its home turf and Britain has dominated.
The British have dominated this event over the last 2 decades. They've won it on 9 occasions. They want to go metric in 1996, and they bring with them the 3 amigos, as they're known here at Spruce Meadows. John Whittaker, Michael Whittaker, Nick Skelton, and of course Jeff Billington rounds out the squad, and he was very good in Atlanta.
Well, the British team is always good here at Spruce Meadows. Jeff Billington is surprised because John Whittaker has always been the anchor rider, but they've got a very strong team going into this Masters, and of course the defending champions of the $200,000 Bank of Montreal Nations Cup is Ireland, and they've been strong for the last 2 years.
The Irish have been on a roll for the last couple of years, winning Nations Cups in Auckland, Spruce Meadows, and of course in Dublin. They bring with them a great team again in 1996. One of the leaders of that team, one of the great riders of the world, is Captain John Lettingham. He's standing by with our colleague, Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
I'm with Captain John Lettingham, the Irish, the defending champs of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. John, what's your strategy for today?
We're going to try and win.
And how are you going to do that?
We can't tell you. It's a secret. Military secret.
Well, I know you need to keep secrets, especially from the Germans. They've been very tough this year.
Yeah, they're coming in as the winners of the Olympic gold medal. They're very strong. They really are very strong here. And we're not as strong as we were last year. We're missing 2 of our best horses, but we're going to give it a good run.
Now, you say you're missing your two best horses. What does your team look like for today?
Our team will start off with the European champion Peter Charles, and he's riding his other horse, the one he rode at the Olympic Games, Benetton. Jerry Mullins, he's the new member, slightly old but new, and he's coming in second on Mill Street Ruby. Then I filled the third spot on Kilbaha, he was here last year. And Eddie Mackin, he's in with Chalkar. He had Miss Fan last year, so it's a different ride for him.
Well, we won't tell Jerry that you called him a little bit old, and we wish you the best of luck for today.
Thank you very much.
Captain John Lettingham, really one of the great personalities and great stars of this sport, makes a good point. They will miss cruising. That Grey Stallion loved the going at Spruce Meadows. However, they bring 4 veteran horses with 4 seasoned international riders.
Another team with 4 seasoned riders, well-honed athletes, is the American team. Hot off their silver medal in Atlanta, they're led by the statesman Michael Matz. The United States show jumping team, Michael Matz, the statesman. Ann Krzinski, the quiet veteran. Peter Leone, the trooper. And Leslie Burr Howard, the aggressor. After 8 taxing team trials, these 4 were named Team USA. Matz and Krzinski were almost flawless throughout trial competition. Leone overcame a broken shoulder, and Burr Howard saved the best for last, confidently and unquestionably taking control of her spot on the team. This team had the makings for gold, the raw athletic ability, veterans that had won their battles and were ready to wage war in Georgia.
A team medal, I think, probably would be the icing on the cake for me for my career. So I'd sure, it would mean an awful lot.
Blood, sweat, tears, and the dreams of 4 lifetimes would come down to 4 minutes of competition for each athlete. This is what the Olympic Games are all about: the sacrifice, the striving, and the strength to capture that coveted piece of metal.
This horse is a real trier, and he has so much heart, I just can't tell you. Obviously the horse has to have the ability to do it, but I think heart means a lot, and that's why I feel so good in that situation. I know I've got plenty of that.
It's so seldom that we get to compete in a Nations Cup. In Europe, that's part of every single CSIO they go to, and it really is a different ball game. It's like running the 50-yard dash every day of your life and then suddenly having to run the 100-yard dash.
Leslie Burr Howard went as hard and fast as she could after a shocking 14-fault performance in the first round of team competition. Burr Howard showed her true grit and recovered with a fault-free second round, while Matz proved it wasn't just Rum who had heart. His rider brought it home with only 1 rail in each round.
Harris just suits me beautifully. I mean, in that sense, you might say, you know, that he's a real ladies' ride, because I really do have to do very little. It's a lot more mental than physical, and he is an incredible athlete.
An incredible team Krzinski and Eros proved to be. Although they scored 8 faults in the second round, they were pure perfection in the first.
I've always respected those athletes who could go out there and deliver when it counts on the big day. And the last 15, 20 years of my life has been spent developing within myself the ability to be good when it counts.
Leone delivered to himself, his team, and his nation. One should have known there'd be no stopping Peter Leone after his remarkable comeback in the trials. Bones mended, Leone laid down a 4-0 on the big day when it counted. All 4 athletes contributed their scores. The result? A team silver medal for a great American team.
The American team is a classic case study of a team that had to rebuild, take a new philosophy to sending a team into international competition, and it's paid off. It's been a great deal of effort for them.
Well, another team that's overcome great adversity is Germany. Winning at the World Championships 2 years ago, they've maintained their form, winning a gold medal in Atlanta. They'll be tough to beat today.
They will. They're looking to complete a triple crown today. Aachen, Atlanta, and Spruce Meadows. However, they've never done well here. Now, the Dutch have also had to rebuild over the years.
They sold off an awful lot of their very good horses. And so the Dutch come to the Spruce Meadows Masters with a fairly young string of horses, with the exception of Top Gun Lucia, ridden by Jan Tops.
And the Canadians, they've been close on occasion. They've had a difficult year. Disappointing result at the Olympic Games. However, they seem to be in reasonably good spirits leading into today's competition.
I think they're ready to do battle on their home turf, but they're going to have to wage a magnificent war against these teams. And the final team we haven't mentioned is the team that has dominated the Spruce Meadows Masters since its inception, Great Britain.
They have. They're looking for their 10th victory in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. They've drawn the first position. That is, Nick Skelton will lead the way. He's a veteran. He has ice water running through his veins. In past years, we've seen him lead the way on Dollar Girl. She's not available to him at this time. He's brought some younger horses to Spruce Meadows. However, if you ever wanted someone to lead you into a Nations Cup, Nick Skelton will be the man. And we'll be back with his first round of competition and all of the rest of the color, pageantry, and action from the Spruce Meadows Masters right after this.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to what comes next, and to help you with whatever your next looks like, to help you make progress and come back even better than before. How do we know it's going to be okay? Because for the 200 years BMO's been in business, we've seen what you're capable of, and we've got your back for 200 more. That's better.
A look at the clock tower here at Spruce Meadows, where each of our entries from the 6 nations competing in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup will make their way into this massive international ring today, and the Pathfinder on course now. Nick Skelton, as he has been for oh so many years for the British team, coming in aboard Showtime. 11-year-old Westphalian mare. A little bit different, Nancy, to see Nick aboard Showtime. We're so used to seeing Dollar Girl with Nick Skelton lead the way. There's a look at the 4 men that will represent the Union Jack today.
Jeff Billington is new to the Spruce Meadows arena, although he was surprisingly the number 6 individual athlete at the Atlanta Olympic Games. So the British come with their entire Atlanta team to the Spruce Meadows Masters, competing in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. It's a very difficult track, I think, Ian.
We will soon get a real sense of this track as really one of the all-time greats of the sport, certainly a legend here at Spruce Meadows, having been a member of many, many championship wins here on Nations Cup Day. Nick Skelton sets the pace. We're covering 630 meters in our first round of competition. The time allowed 95 seconds over really what is a masterful design by Leopoldo Palacios of Venezuela.
Oh, Nick Skelton and Showtime making it back for the very difficult distance between the first combination and the Irish vertical. There's the bicycle jump from Holland. And you'll notice that in this Bank of Montreal Nations Cup, most of the jumps are indicative of one of the nations that's competing here.
Some great theme fences on course as they charge towards the water. Obstacle number 9.
Oh, and Nick stepped on the tape at the water. He's got 8 faults right now. That is not what the British wanted to do, sending Nick out first.
Wanting to come out of the blocks quickly. The Irish, of course, looking to defend this year. And now we're on 12 faults as we take the last bend towards the home stretch. Nick Skelton, the Pathfinder in today's Bank of Montreal Nations Cup for Great Britain, finishing up on a 12-fault round.
You know, Ian, I think one of the things that is interesting, the European riders have not ridden Leopoldo Palacios' courses that much. Nick got right underneath the water jump, had to add a little stride. His horse looked down, went way up in the air, but didn't clear the tape there. You can see a great shot, stepping squarely on the plasticine tape, incurring 4 faults.
Holland will be next to go in the Nations Cup as we look at the first of 4 Dutch riders to go today, a member of the 92 Olympic effort, Pete Rymackers.
Pete Rymackers is probably the friendliest person that you'll ever meet on the show jumping circuit. He's always got about a dozen kids following him around the grounds. He's a happy-go-lucky sort. Today, he is riding Jules Emerald.
Pete Rymackers, of course, 2 Olympic medals to his resume, gold and individual silver from Barcelona, and really coming back at the top of the sport right now, Nancy.
Well, Pete was very close to making it on the Atlanta team. He was edged out of a spot there by Emil Hendricks. A very difficult line. Pete wrote that exquisitely.
Coming
Sharp
back.
turn, yeah, to this. You know, the reason that's a very difficult jump to jump is that it's something that the horses don't normally see, a bicycle. But the lines on the fence, on the rails, are horizontal. And that's another thing horses are not used to seeing.
Massive water now, and of course each of these obstacles related to the lines and obstacles leading to and going away from as he bends back now. Leopoldo Palacios having a number of turnbacks on this course, checking the horse's handiness, their scope, and the big vertical, the German fence comes down.
Oh. The triple combination is quite difficult as well. You have a big wide oxer to power out over as the first element. Then you have to sit quiet, hope your horse bunches himself together to clear B, the vertical, and then a very tight stride to C, another oxer.
All towards the out gate with 8 jumping faults for Pete Rymackers, the first of 4 Dutchmen to go in today's Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
Here's a look at Pete Rymackers heading into the German vertical, the black, red, and yellow rails. He just rolls the top of it, I think a bit preoccupied with the triple combination that was following that big, tall vertical.
First of the Canadians slated in next, leading the way for the Maple Leaf, looking to come back from an abysmal Olympic performance. Cohen will lead this quartet.
Mac was in the second position at the Atlanta Olympics in the team event, where he and El Lute certainly came of age as a pair.
This has been a big international year for the Hanoverian Stallion. Really his first year at international Grand Prix level competition, having come through the Canadian trials, then touring Europe with the Canadians prior to the Atlanta Olympics, and they're looking now to have a good day here at home.
There's the chef d'équipe of the Canadian team, Michel Vaillancourt, standing beside Peter Howard, the owner of El Lute, who's also married to the American great athlete on the U.S. team, Leslie Burr Howard. Matt Cohen on his way now with El Lute.
Really important for the Canadians here, who have been second on a number of occasions at Spruce Meadows, to get a strong first ride from their leadoff man, Matt Cohen. The horse does have the ability. Let's see if he can put it all together before more than 40,000 people here in the stadium at Spruce Meadows on a perfect day, an early rail into this tough line, into the Irish vertical.
Oh dear, and now Max El Lute looks a little flat, punching through the first element of 4AB, catching jump number 5. Now the bicycle jump. He's on 12 faults and he's not halfway around the course. Ooh! That was disastrous at the British jump.
Very disconcerting, I'm sure, for Matt Cohen as he's trying to wake this stallion up. Get the landing gear up, El Lute.
Giving him a little kick in the belly, saying, "Wake up, stallion." Beautiful jump over the water.
Of course, scoring in Nations Cup competition allows each nation to drop its worst score from each of the 2 rounds. You always want your leadoff rider, though, to come out of the blocks quickly.
Here's the triple combination. This is very difficult. El Lute having a rail inside the triple. not what the Canadians wanted from their first rider out. Cohen will be pretty disappointed with that. You know, that's what's so unfortunate about the depth in the Canadian horses. They have young horses that are not the seasoned veterans, and you can have the very unexpected happen, like what happened to El Lute here. Then he seemed to fall apart. He was so shattered that he had these two rails early on. He just caught another two, lost his attention completely.
Canada will be hoping certainly that that's the throwaway. 20 faults for Cohen as they circle in front of Mount Rushmore. We look at Franka Slotak leading off the German juggernaut.
Franka joined by Ludger Bierbaum, a constant colleague on the German team. Lars Nieburg was in Atlanta helping to win that gold medal. The new member, Ralf Schneider.
Ralf Schneider, of course, riding Ludger Bierbaum's individual gold medal mount in today's competition from the Barcelona Games. Classic touch by Spray. Ludger Bierbaum on course now. Make that Franka Slotak the lead-off man, the reigning world champion of show jumping. San Patronano Jolie with Franka Slotak. He says this is as good a horse as he has ever ridden, and that is saying something when you think of the great horses this German superstar has ridden, from Rex the Robber to San Patronano Vai Hai Vai, Dorina and the like. Must be a pretty good horse.
He does really like this horse. The one thing that I found about this horse is that he's very strong. He can seem to be extremely fresh. Franka is such a strong rider. He's able to package this horse, get him all bunched up into a little tightly wound rubber ball. Very unusual to have Franka knock a rail down early on like that.
That line proving to be very difficult in the early going here. Franka's comments about this horse is he loves the bascule, the feeling across the back of this horse going over the fences. And as you watch it, you can really see it crack out and bend its back nicely.
Ludger Bierbaum watching on. Franka Slotak, the gold medal leadoff rider for the team event in Atlanta, leading off the German team again, and they would like nothing better than to duplicate their performance in Atlanta. However, Franka's carrying 4 faults right now. Oh, beautiful through the triple combination. San Patronano Jolie giving it an extra effort at C. The last element in the triple, and he's clear over the Canada planks.
Clearly the best round we've seen to date in the Nations Cup by the world champion of show jumping, Franka Slotak, and Germany takes an early lead with a 4-fault trip around this course at the Spruce Meadows Masters.
The gallop down to this early combination, 4A, and then 2 big strides to 4B, a very wide oxer. San Patronano Jolie, perhaps Franka didn't let him gallop enough down to that oxer, catching the back rail for the 4 faults for Germany.
Very comfortable first round as we look at the European champion from Ireland, Peter Charles with Benetton. Jeffrey Chisholm, the vice chairman of the Bank of Montreal, receiving the Cavaliers' salute before some 45,000 fans on hand today at Spruce Meadows, enjoying a glorious day. This man is an incredible rider with a great 1-2 punch he's brought to Spruce Meadows, and a very, very charismatic team.
Well, Benetton's the horse that Peter rode at the Atlanta Games, and great story behind Peter Charles. He's born in England, felt he couldn't get a shot on the British team, so he took advantage of his parents' heritage. Ooh, that'll hurt the Irish. The first jump on course.
No way to start their defense of the title here. 4 faults at fence number 1 as he starts to wake this big gray horse up.
So Peter's parents, who were born in Ireland, it made it possible for Peter to take out Irish citizenship, which he did, and now he's a constant member of the Irish team.
Reigning European champion has no problems with the big Irish vertical. Interesting that Peter's the leadoff man. Eddie Mackin, the great legend of Irish show jumping, is in the 4-hole. Peter Charles used to be Eddie Mackin's groom.
I never knew that. Peter's looking very good. So is Benetton, very fresh. It's too bad they weren't quite awake for the first jump. because they've hardly touched a fence since. Ah, easily jumping the water.
11-year-old Belgian-bred gelding. As is the case with a lot of the European horses, they get so many more miles at top international competitions. This horse's resume compared to, say, that of El Lute's for a horse the same age is vastly different.
Well, the Europeans have such an advantage. They can travel a distance of about 10 or 15 miles every weekend of the year and get to a major competition.
8 faults for Ireland's leadoff man, Peter Charles. They fall in behind Germany.
Here's a look at Peter Charles as he heads into this massive triple combination. This is a great angle to watch the triple. One bouncy stride, a very short stride to kick out over the oxer, and you can see that Benetton just got a little too close to the middle element, hitting it on the way up. A very common fault in this Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
We go to New Jersey, the United States of America, for our next entry. Crown Royal Legato Peter Leone leads off this great American team that scored silver at the Atlanta Olympics.
Peter Leone and Michael Matz are the bookends in this American team. For the women athletes, Leslie Burr Howard and Ann Kurzinski.
Peter Leone coming off that devastating crushed collarbone in the American trials, where he had to bite the bullet, refuse any treatment as to not break any of the IOC or the U.S. team drug rules, and continue through the trial process with a collarbone that was broken in 5 places. He earned his way onto the team and then found the medal podium, and now he finds himself as leadoff man at Spruce Meadows.
Ooh, and he's not had a good start down that first line. Carrying 8 faults. He carried the rail out quite far on the Irish vertical. And another fence coming down.
A lot of these leadoff riders to date have not left a lot of room for their 3 teammates to follow in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Frank Chapeau looks on with veteran Michael Matz. Now this big line towards the clock tower at Spruce Meadows, towards the outgate, often distracting for the horses.
Here's that triple combination. It looked like Peter got in there just perfect. Unfortunately, that's a very tricky obstacle, the B element of the triple. And the American silver medal team is not off to a great start.
16 faults to finish off the first riders of this Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Here's a look at our leaderboard, and we'll be back with more from Spruce Meadows right after this. Welcome back to Spruce Meadows. Ian Allison and Nancy Southern with the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup at the Spruce Meadows Masters. As Britain's second entry in the competition, Jeff Billington, a newcomer to Spruce Meadows, and what he has brought with him is really one of the most impressive young horses we've seen in a long time. It's Otto.
Impressive, staggering leaps of power. This horse is, for my money, the best horse in the international arena right now.
Earlier this week, when I first saw this horse leading into Nations Cup competition in the $1 Million Weekend at the Masters, I mentioned that it reminded me very much of Otto Becker's great stallion, Hermann's Poker. Same kind of composition. It's the raw jumping power that impresses with this horse.
You saw him scope out through 4A, B, and 5. This horse has not touched a jump yet. And he's aggressive about it, but he's so careful at the jumps. He doesn't ever take over. Oh! And Jeff Billington gives him a nice ride. He gives him lots of confidence.
10-year-old Dutch-bred gelding, so if things go well, this horse will have a long and successful career on the British team.
Boy, that horse looked at the water jump, though. Now let's see how he handles the triple combination. He could get himself into trouble by just too much power going in.
We have yet to see a clear here at Spruce Meadows as Jeff Billington scopes out through the oxer, exiting the triple. 1 left to go.
Oh, and he rattles the last jump, but it stays up. The first clear round. Great Britain moves to the top of the leaderboard.
It can be done, but it may take a horse with that type of extraordinary power.
Boom over the first one. A quick short stride to the second element, and then that horse twisted, went off to the side, gave himself all kinds of room. Jeff Billington letting his horse do the job, and do the job he did. A clear round.
That's a keeper for Great Britain, who are looking to go metric and win their 10th Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. You talk about powerful horses. Our second in a row from the Netherlands, Apparet La Sia, with the 4th-ranked rider in the world, Jan Tops.
Oh, this is a great horse. And this is Jan Tops' second string horse. Look at it, just fly over the Mount Rushmore jump.
It may be his second string horse, Nancy, but it's the horse he plans on taking to the Sydney Olympics, as his other mount, Top Gun La Sia, will not be eligible for Olympic competition by the year 2000. And this doesn't look like a bad second fiddle. Just a 12-year-old mare, Apparet La Sia, and the Irish vertical has been difficult.
It has been very difficult. It seems that they've got 5 gallop strides after the 4AB combination, and unless you get your horse to really round up and get a bouncy step, you're going to have that rail down, and usually it's with the hind legs, not with the front legs on that vertical. Now that's their only mistake to date.
The Dutch have not been to the victory circle in Nations Cup competition at Spruce Meadows since 1981. A team that featured Johan Heinz, Anton Eben. It's been a while.
15 years. Okay, here's this last line, the triple combination. 6 gallop steps in. Look at this horse. She was very canny and cagey as she went through that triple combination. Knew exactly where all parts of her body were. Jan Tops not overriding the triple. 4 faults and a very good round for Holland.
I would think a keeper in today's competition, as Jan Tops finishes up with Apparet La Sia with just 1 rail down. The rail we've seen down more often than any other.
They're a long ways away from that vertical. Too much packaging on the way down to the Irish jump. And then when the horse had to take off, he kind of got flat as he scooted out across it. Just the 4 jumping faults for Holland there. He's happy with it though, giving the little okay sign to his wife up in the clock tower.
The crowd looking on now as hometown favorite Linda Southern Heathcote prepares Advantage Chrysler to take on this course here in the massive Spruce Meadows International Ring. The crowd will erupt when Linda's introduced here. This is an impressive combination that have had a very successful couple of year campaign, really, even though Linda had to take a year off for a maternity leave.
I think it's remarkable. After the Masters in 1994, she notified everybody that she was pregnant and was going to stop riding. She took, as you say, Ian, the entire year. She didn't start until January 25th of 1996, and it has been a meteoric rise to the top for Linda this year.
Has been on the road a lot, including not only in North America, but a tour to Rotterdam, Luxembourg, Aachen, Germany, of course the Olympic Games, and now home to Spruce Meadows. She'll be looking to keep this tricky vertical up.
Oh, getting a bit flat there, just nubbing it. Rolling it out of the cups.
Leopoldo Palacios has set a distance there that's going to start getting to the minds of these riders.
This is such a great horse, Advantage Chrysler. If you get a chance to watch, here you'll see him. He crosses his front legs when he's up in the air. Did you see that? Just a little cross, almost like he's a ballerina in the air.
Towards the water now. Canada would love to finish up with 4 faults on this round, as Cohen led things off with a 20-fault trip. that they certainly hope will be the throwaway now down this tricky line with 4 obstacles.
Beautifully over the vertical there and setting up well to the triple combination. Linda talking to him. He comes back to her and she's through the triple clear.
This would be a great boost to the Canadian effort today if she can get over the planks, and she does. 4 faults for Canada. Linda Southern Heathcott on Advantage Chrysler.
Big round for Canada. Advantage Chrysler from the very famous Hanoverian bloodline of Dynamo. This is their only fault, catching this jump number 5, the Irish vertical, being a little too far off. I think we'll see our future riders. There's her groom and chef d'équipe, Michelle Vaillancourt, cheering for Linda as she crosses the finish line, and that looks like a pretty good score for Canada to keep.
Into the ring now, a change in the order, evidently a farrier situation unfolding for the German team, for Ralf Schneider, so they'll move the order around and bring in Commandant Jerry Mullins with Mill Street Ruby.
It's actually an equipment failure on Ralf Schneider's horse, Classic Touch by Spray, which sounds somewhat similar to the Barcelona Olympics when Classic Touch blew a hackamore and cost Ludger Beerbaum a medal.
At least it didn't happen on course as it did in the team events in Barcelona. After Ludger had won his individual gold medal, it effectively dealt the Germans out of the team running. Commandant Jerry Mullins, who jumped into the Spruce Meadows history books aboard Rock Barton back in the 70s and early 80s. Now with this mare, Mill Street Ruby, looks to bring Ireland into good shape to defend the Nations Cup.
I was mentioning the fact that Advantage Chrysler came from a very famous jumping bloodline called Dynamo out of the Hanoverian breed. Horses such as Dollar Girl, Top Gun Lucia are all from the same stallion. Well, this horse of Jerry Mullins is also from a very famous jumping bloodline out of Southern Ireland. The Noel C. Duggan Farm has bred a number of top jumping horses, such as Mill Pearl, the gold medal horse in LA. Mill Street Ruby is the other international horse that is competing today.
See if they can get through this difficult line. 4AB now to 5.
Oh yes, you see, having had the advantage of watching a number of riders go through the course, Jerry Mullins knew that he had to ride that vertical more forward. The distance was too much to be picking and conservative to that Irish vertical.
Chef d'équipe Ned Campion was looking on from the clock tower as his second rider looks to better the performance of Peter Charles, who opened things up for the Irish with 8 faults on Benetton.
The Irish have been dueling it out with the Brits in Europe ever since the Atlanta Games, winning in Rotterdam.
He'll have to be very careful down this line. Mill Street Ruby looks very fresh leading into the combination.
Ooh! Oh, and she just took everything away from Jerry. She took over, and she made a big mistake in doing that.
He will not be a happy commandant. Clear into the triple, 3 rails down, 12 faults as they finish up their effort, and that is the unraveling of Team Ireland in the first round after having a great round to that point.
Well, that means they're going to probably have to use Peter Charles' score of an 8. Look at this mare. She just got so aggressive. She wanted to get home. She said, "Commandant, I'm taking you into the line of battle." Only I don't think the rest of the troops were there and ready.
8 faults for Peter Charles, 12 faults for Jerry Mullen as we're halfway through Team Ireland's effort of the first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Jerry seems to have the mare back on the bit now as they head to the international warm-up area. Ralf Schneider on course now with his tack problems under control. Classic Touch by Spray.
That Mount Rushmore jump is a jump from the Atlanta Olympics. signifying the American team competing here at the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. You know, a lot of times, Ian, Ralph Schneider gets criticized for the few mistakes that he makes on a course. Of course, when you're riding against and with people like Ludger Beerbaum and Frankie Slotak, it's pretty hard to get yourself compared. And I think a lot of people forget that Ralph Schneider is only 25 years of age. He's a very young man. He's relatively new to international sport. And I think he's done a heck of a job.
He's also riding a horse that's extremely talented but leaves no room for error. Look at the blood that she exemplifies. There's her former jockey, Ludger Beerbaum, who knows everything that Rolf is going through out there right now.
Good ride to the water. Now he's going to have to try and get this mare to settle down, quiet down, in order to approach the triple combination properly.
Germany led off with 4 faults with Frankie Slotak.
Oh, it looks like he might have got it done. Oh, just a smidgen too deep to see. Pulling it with her hind legs. Oh, and the last fence comes down. That's a little bit of inexperience on Ralph Schneider's part, not taking the time to set up, but a very admirable round, just 8 jumping faults.
They had it all in the bag until that final portion of the course, much like Commandant Jerry Mullins. Here's what happened with Classic Touch by Sprahe.
And Ralph just getting a little over anxious, not taking the time, cutting the corner a bit, jumping the last jump on an angle for the 4 faults, which is going to be a dear rail to them. I think they'd be sitting in very good shape with just 2 4s. However, the 8 faults may play havoc.
There's a picture of one of the great American riders, really of all time, Leslie Burr Howard, who has Olympic medals, a World Cup title to her credit, and a fresh Olympic medal from the summer of 1996 in Atlanta, part of the Silver Team effort. And she's aboard Ulan Duplessis, a mare that's been put into the hot seat this week because Leslie's Olympic mount, Extreme, has had a bit of a tummy ache since it arrived at Spruce Meadows.
It's been, who knows, whether it's stress, just the year, having so much pressure on them, coming to another major tournament.
Being in the same country as husband Peter Howard for a change, who lives here in Canada while Leslie trains in Connecticut.
Well, this is a big task to call on this youngster for Leslie. But if anybody can get the job done, it's Leslie Burr Howard. She is one of the most determined athletes I have ever met. Ooh, catching the bicycle. Inexperience on the horse's part there.
10-year-old French-bred mare who earlier in the tournament leading into the Nations Cup weekend rode this horse to a first-place finish in the CU Power International Welcome. However, on Nations Cup day, it sometimes catches up with the inexperienced horses.
Jumping the water well, she had to give him a little extra encouragement as her mare looked down at the water. Now we'll see whether this youngster can handle the triple combination. Having her fence down, she's carrying 8 faults.
Nicely through the combination with just the maple leaf to finish things up with. 8 faults would be acceptable for Leslie Burr Howard. Certainly she'll be happy with the baptism this mare's got under fire on Nations Cup day.
Well, there you saw Leslie Burr Howard's experience coming through. She jumped the last fence fault free. A great round for the United States.
We're halfway through the first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup from the Spruce Meadows Masters. More excitement when we return.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
The plot thickens in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup as the third riders for each of the 6 nations prepare to come into the ring. It's a make or break time to see if you're going to stay in the hunt. Canada for sure needing to have a solid round from its third rider, Beth Underhill. Great Britain coming off a clear round. A look at one of the great horse rider combinations in the world right now. Michael Whittaker with 2-step 2 last year, this combination. Winning the Du Maurier International. They've returned to defend that title, but today they're focused on the Nations Cup.
A very disappointing tournament and season for Michael Whittaker. I think it's the first year that I can recall where Michael and John are not sitting in the top 3 of the world standings.
Although they haven't slipped out of the top 10, and Michael, to this point of the Masters tournament, has put $7,500 in his pocket. Now that we're into the $1 million weekend of the Spruce Meadows Masters, he'd like to really get it together as he has so many times here. And on an additional note for the Brits, they really would like to bring one home for Ronnie Massarella, who for the first time in 21 years isn't at Spruce Meadows. Teammate Nick Skelton looking on.
Nick a little disappointed because he let his team down with the 12 faults. He certainly has not ever let the British team down. Ronnie Massarella with a bereavement in his family, not able to attend. Michael Bullman is here as chef to keep, and Michael Whittaker is giving us an astonishing performance with 1 jump left. We could have a clear round here for Great Britain.
The second clear for the Union Jack today. Michael Whittaker aboard 2-step 2 joins Jeff Billington with It's Auto to set the pace for the Union Jack.
Well, Michael Whittaker has made it clear to the rest of the nations this turf is owned by Great Britain, and you guys will have to come and do battle with us if you want to take home the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
Michael Bullman riding every fence on course, checks the scoreboard. Story says it all with the Brits now on 2 clear rounds, looking to throw away Nick Skelton, as John Whittaker still has yet to ride. He's only the 2nd all-time money winner at Spruce Meadows.
The British sitting in a very nice position. Now, the Netherlands has 8 faults and 4 faults, so this rider will try and give them an edge.
Wout-Jan van der Schans with Global Leroy Brown. Leroy Brown, a former international horse in Germany, now being ridden by Dutch national team member Wout-Jan van der Schans.
Wout-Jan is a former 3-day event rider, and Global Leroy Brown is a very difficult horse to ride. You can see he's got quite an apparatus on this horse's face to maintain control, but the one thing is that this horse has got such a huge gallop step. He covers so much ground, and if he gets in front of a jump like he did there, his body is so big, it's very hard for him to get his legs out of the way in a very fast reactive time.
Just eating up the turf here at Spruce Meadows. However, the Dutch would have loved to see a clear round. Charging onto the water, easily over. There's a look at the beautiful Dutch flowers that adorn the courses here at Spruce Meadows. Some 4 tons of them brought in each year for the Masters.
And this year, 8,000 Dutch flags are waving in the stands to celebrate the 15th year of Holland Day at the Masters. Wout-Jan van der Schans, another rail coming down. He's on 8 jumping faults. Ooh, and gets lucky at the Canada planks.
Finishing up with 8 faults, the third rider for the Netherlands, Wout-Jan van der Schans with Global Leroy Brown.
And here's a look at the bicycle, getting right underneath it, and you can see, ooh, that was not a pretty jump at all. Leroy Brown hanging 2 legs right out in front of him, not snapping up, giving him the first of 2 rails for 8 faults. And right now, dropping the worst 12 fault score, the Netherlands has 12 faults.
Canadian show jumping champion Beth Underhill revs up the motor of her New Zealand-bred Hanoverian Monopoly. This combination having had a rather light summer's work. Beth, from the start of the year, said she would not take this horse to the Olympic Games, came and did a spectacular job in winning the national championships at Spruce Meadows in June, and Monopoly has been resting for today, for Nations Cup Day, looking to better Matt Cohen's 20-fault performance and hopefully better, for the Canadian perspective, Linda Southern Heathcott's 4-fault performance.
Monopoly looking like he was a bit rusty down that line, doing a double take at the triple bar, squeaking out over jump number 5, however, and so she's through one of the most difficult tests on the course.
A crowd favorite here at Spruce Meadows, 2-time Canadian champion Beth Underhill.
Beth says that for Monopoly, his best jumping is done on the international ring here at Spruce Meadows. The water, often a problem for Beth. Not today.
Setting up towards the outgate, German vertical, triple combination to follow.
Well, this would be great. If Beth could go clear, Canada would have a clear round and a 4-fault round from Linda Southern Heathcott. Oh, it looked like it was going to stay up. It just went back in the cups and rolled out again.
A good recovery there, however. Now the planks.
Yes.
4 faults for Canada, the second 4-fault performance here in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
And you could hear Jeffrey Chisholm, vice chairman of the Bank of Montreal, saying, "Atta girl, Beth." He's hardly biased at all, hoping for the Canadians who have never won in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. And there's a look. It looked like it was going to stay up for a minute, a fraction of a second, and then it rolled out. Just the 4 faults, however, and that puts Canada in a very good position.
Looks as though the 20, of course, will be thrown away. That of Matt Cohen and El Lute as Beth Underhill and Monopoly make their way back to await the performance of Canada's anchor rider, Ian Miller.
Well, Beth Underhill is extremely happy with the performance of Monopoly. And Canada's in a good position now to stay in the top 3 in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. And, of course, to do so, to win at home, would be great for the Canadians' morale.
Looking to win as well will be Team Germany. They've been on a drought here at Spruce Meadows for nearly a decade, and Lars Nieburg on course now with a very fancy little horse, For Pleasure. This combination second at the World Cup finals this year. Also members of the Nations Cup winning effort in Aachen and the Olympic Games, so they're no slouches.
Very light on his feet, For Pleasure. You notice the white patch, he's almost like a pinto. Oh, and he catches jump number 5.
The Irish vertical has caused great grief for many nations. Franka Slotak looking on from the clock tower. His first round, a 4-fault performance.
Lars Nieburg is known in Germany as one of the most consistent, most pleasant. I guess you'd say he was the congeniality winner of this year's team competition. He's a very, very solid team player. Not necessarily a brilliant individual rider, but somebody that every rider wants to have on their team.
Now into the combination. For Pleasure over the first oxer.
Oh, look at this horse. So good with his body. Such an athletic little guy. He's not big like the other horses. Oh! That was a little bit of Lars easing up on For Pleasure. That's a big vertical at the end of the Bank of Montreal course. And For Pleasure takes into Germany's score 8 faults. So they'll drop 1 8-fault round, but they're sitting with 12 right now if we look at the top 2 scores. Canada in a very good position with just 4 and 4.
The Irish looking to defend their title here at Spruce Meadows. They will call on Captain John Lettingham aboard Kilbaha. Such an impressive combination. Grand Prix, Nations Cup, Derby competition. They're there to win.
And the Irish have been splendid in their performances in the last 2 years, right at the top of the leaderboards at every Nations Cup they go to. Not so good in Atlanta because of, I think, two major factors. Number one, they did not have the great Grey Stallion cruising with Trevor Coyle. And number two, Peter Charles chose to take his very best horse, La Ina, not to Atlanta, but to bring it here to the Spruce Meadows Masters.
And I think maybe perhaps as importantly as Captain John Lettingham did not feel that Kilbaha was fit to travel to Atlanta. So really they were going in as event favorites based on the riders, but they didn't take the horsepower to get the job done, which they've done here.
They have certainly brought them here. Ned Campion, chef de keep of the Irish team. Oh, John, just make it over the water. Left a little bit long with not a lot of power as he heads now down to the triple combination. A very good round going for Ireland here with Captain John Lettingham.
13-year-old Irish gelding getting the job done with Captain Lettingham towards the planks. A clear round here will change things up,
yes.
And he does it. He delivers for the Shamrock.
Ah, wonderful round. Look at the thousands of people on hand here at Spruce Meadows witnessing truly Olympic-style sport in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Captain John Lettingham sets up. He doesn't allow his nerves to take over. He makes sure he jumps the Canada planks clear with Kilbaha. A wonderful round. And Ireland right now is alongside Canada at the top of the leaderboard, just below the two clear rounds put in by the British team. So Ireland has a good chance of catching Great Britain.
The United States is desperate for a clear round. They'll call on Ann Krasinski to deliver. Let's meet this veteran from Flemington, New Jersey.
Well, Eros is an Australian thoroughbred, and he's feisty. He's a little moody. I love his way. I mean, he's a real character, and I have to say he reminds me of some of the athletes I bumped into, say, at opening ceremonies and things, that get so pumped up and so rah-rah and go USA, and he gets like that. You know, even here now at the Masters, he's was very feisty today. You lead him out of the stall. He's lashing out with his hind legs and nipping at me as I go to get on, and that's him. That's his real games face. You know, he's ready to go win. So that I love about him. And he loves to jump, I have to say. He loves to jump. He loves what he does. And my biggest concern is that I stay out of his way. You know, he's so talented that I try to let him do what he knows how to do. So he's ready to be here, and I'm excited. I love to jump him over big jumps.
Well, they don't get any classier than Ann Krasinski, and here she comes on this thoroughbred Eros, who is a bit of a Disney story in the way he was discovered and where he has taken Ann to in this sport.
All along, this horse was sitting in her barn, and then Thanksgiving, she decides she's going to go away, and she sees him jumping, leaping, almost like a Superman story, leaping tall buildings. And Anne knew she had to have this horse in her life. Well, that is pretty magical.
Chef to keep Frank Chapeau looking on nervously, wanting to continue what's been a fairly solid tradition here at Spruce Meadows for the USET, second only to Great Britain in Nations Cup victories. And Krasinski has been a part of that history as she has the British fence down, ironically.
The thing with this horse, Anne believes, is that she must just trust him. All she has to do is get him to the spot and let him do the jumping. As you can see there, she didn't need to override the water. It was just picture perfect. Heading now down to the triple combination over the German vertical. She's carrying 4 faults.
This is her 30th Nations Cup for the United States. A veteran of Olympic Games. Listen to her talk her way along with this thoroughbred.
All the time using her voice to reassure and settle this horse's temperament and make him feel at home on the course. 4 faults, a great round for Ann Krasinski.
They called on her to deliver, and she answered the call. Ann Krasinski with 4 faults. More when we return. 6 entries left to go in the first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Anchor rider John Whittaker for Great Britain. He's won nearly $900,000 in this ring in his career with some of the great all-time horses. He's with Vellum at this year's Masters Tournament.
Well, the question is, can the Brits redeem themselves after a disparaging performance in Atlanta? Ooh, a lucky rattle at 4B. Oh, and John Whittaker left a long ways away from jump number 5, making a sweeping turn to 6. They're on 2 clear rounds and a 12-fault round turned in by Nick Skelton.
4 at the Dutch bicycle jump. Now he needs to be like Mike and be like Jeff Billington and leave the rest of the rails in the cups. And Britain would come through this first round on 4 faults. However, a lot of jumping left.
Oh, that terrible triple combination is coming up. Oh, and look at John ride the water. Whew. I've never seen him make a move like that in front of the water jump. He was bound and determined to get over it.
Not wanting Wellham to get too relaxed with the demands of this big combination. Oxer, vertical, Oxer to the outgate.
Oh, and Wellham responded beautifully. Just snapped up in front of that C element. 4 faults would give them a very comfortable position after 4 riders have gone.
They call him the cavalry because he comes to the rescue for Great Britain.
2 clear rounds from Michael Whittaker and Jeff Billington. John Whittaker puts in a 4-fault performance. We cast away Nick Skelton's score of 12. That was the only rail that came down on the course, and Great Britain takes on a 4-fault score after the first round.
The Netherlands are on deck, and they'll be looking for 4 faults or better from their great international veteran Jos Lansing, who forms part of the 1-2 punch of Dutch show jumping. Together their names only have 6 letters. Let's meet Jos and Jan, Jos Lansing and Jan Tops.
He's ridden for Team Holland since 1986. He won an Olympic gold team medal in 1992. He's the reigning Dutch national champion and has been for 5 years. Yet people often ask, who is Jos Lansing? He is, without question, one of the most gifted athletes in the sport, and he has ridden some of the most talented horses under the guidance of mentor and chef de keep, Hans Horn. With his great stallion Libero, Lansing anchored the 1992 gold medal team at the Barcelona Olympics and clinched the World Cup Championship in '94.
It's always nice to win for the home crowd, so I had a really good feeling. My horse was in really good shape and I did a good job, I think, and we won.
With an uncommon knack for choosing talented young horses and an unparalleled talent for riding them, together Hans Horn and Jos Lansing created one of the most successful and profitable partnerships in the sport of show jumping.
I have at the moment some real good horses. I'm lucky with that, and I have also some good horses for the future, so it looks really good.
Yet in 1996, Lansing made a drastic change. Despite the approaching Olympics, Lansing ended his partnership with Hans Horn. Although he would still represent the Netherlands, Jos Lansing was on a new string of horses, and consequently, in Atlanta, he had 8 faults in each round of the Nations Cup. The defending gold medal team of the Netherlands finished 7th.
I changed my stable from the stables from Hans Horn to the stable from Leon Melchior at Sangenscheide in Belgium, the end of April. I took 3 horses with me. So these are all a little bit unexperienced horses, all the age from 8 and 9. So they're not really experienced, but I think they're really nice and talented.
Despite a less than stellar performance in Atlanta at the Olympics, Jos Lansing knows that with the right horses and the time to develop them, no major injuries, and a dash of luck, he will once again have the recipe to ride to the top of the sport. And everyone will know exactly who Jos Lansing is. There are many similarities between Jos Lansing and his compatriot Jan Tops. Both are 35-year-old, long-standing Dutch team members who have been national and team Olympic champions. And both appear to be on the brink of greatness, time and time again. Tops has yet to grab the brass ring, an individual gold medal or world championship title, although he is consistently in the jump-offs of major competitions around the world. The best is yet to come. The future looks bright, and the Dutch will be back.
Jos Lansing having made the move to the Zangazida show jumping team this year, and look at this magnificent gray horse he rides.
Oh, Visa Cartago Z. Incredible. You know, Jos has only been riding this horse about 3 months, and I think by next year they may be unstoppable. They still have the occasional rail, just trying to get used to one another, and Cartago Z is a little bit inexperienced, and there you saw it. He put his feet up, he had a beautiful jump, he was just a little bit shy of clearing jump number 5.
Just 9 years of age, this magnificent stallion. Gray Holsteiner from the Zangazida show jumping team. And Jos Lansing has really ridden on some of the great horses of the world. Libero, Easy Jumper, Igano. He made the team switch this move, a free agency move. And boy, oh boy, does he have the horsepower now.
And a mega superstar contract. He's been hired on by the Zangazida stables, Leon Melchior. 500,000 marks to ride these great horses. And now that's professional sports in any league.
35-year-old Jos Lansing, who was really discovered as a young farm boy riding in northern Holland by Hans Horn, came in to exercise his horses and is now one of the best in the world. 4 faults finishing up today for the Dutch effort in the first round.
Jos Lansing, the Dutch champion the last 6 years running, and he gives us a 4-fault round. You can see we have to drop one of the 8 fault scores for a total of 16 for Holland. A good 3 rails away from Great Britain, who finished up with just the 4.
Canada's Ian Miller revs the motor here, the anchor rider for well over a decade with Big Ben. Now with his new international mount, Play It Again, a horse we watched jump 2 double clear rounds in the Auckland Nations Cup.
And Ian Miller, coming off his Atlanta Games attempt, said they were ready, the Canadians were ready to do battle again after Atlanta on their home turf.
There's his son Jonathan, who this week tasted victory at Spruce Meadows for the first time. Perhaps the passing of the baton underway at the Millerbrook farm.
That jump number 5, it's been the fence that comes down the most. There's Lynn Miller, Ian's wife.
The riders are going to want to take the chainsaw to that Irish vertical, as Play It Again now has 2 rails, and that will be deflating for Team Canada and for Ian Miller. He has such great hopes for this huge 9-year-old gelding who is just gaining the experience necessary to compete at this level, and there's the chef to keep, Michelle Vaillancourt. Totally devastated.
12 jumping faults so far, with the very difficult triple combination yet to come. Well, look at the crowd here. Home crowd wanting the Canadians to do so well. If Michelle Vaillancourt is devastated, you can only imagine how Ian Miller feels.
As this crowd rides every fence with the man they call Captain Canada, hoping as much for him as for his teammate to have a good result today. However, 3 rails down spell 12 jumping faults. You can see Ian Miller less than happy with that performance. His teammates needed him to come through, and it was the men for Team Canada that didn't get the job done in this first round.
The 2 ladies doing very well, 4 faults apiece. We'll use the 12-fault round of Ian Miller for a total of 20 faults after the first total. The first round total.
The Brits have 4 rails on Canada at the conclusion of the first round as we move on to the number 1 ranked rider in the world, Ludger Beerbaum with Spray Rush On. And the book on this horse is he's as talented as any in the world if he can get his mind on the game on game day.
Ludger always seems to find horses with a little more blood. When you compare his horses to Francis Slotak's horses, he seems to like the ones that are more aggressive, more thoroughbred blood in them, a little bit hotter. Ludger is a master at getting them controlled and packaged.
14-year-old Westphalian gelding, Spray Rush On, a horse that we have seen really mature year after year after year as a time-lapse photograph here at the Masters Tournament. And now he's the number 1 gun for Ludger Beerbaum since the untimely injury to Ratina at the Olympic Games that dealt him out of the individual competition.
That was so disappointing for Ludger Beerbaum and Francis Slotak, both having a shot at winning an individual medal. Neither one of them were able to compete in the individual. Oh, look at this horse. He tried to take off on Ludger out the side. He wanted to go out the trap door, but Ludger managed to manipulate him through brute strength, get him squared back up for that triple, and he's on a clear round after that. Incredible riding.
An incredible show of horsemanship by the number 1 ranked rider in the world, Ludger Beerbaum, a clear round for Germany. And that really helps their cause here on Nations Cup Day.
Oh, does it ever. Ludger with a clear round, Francis Slotak with just the 4 faults. They'll use 8 faults from either one of Lars or Ralph's scores. A total of 12, and that puts them into 2nd place, 2 rails shy of Great Britain.
Ludger Beerbaum with Spray Rush On, sporting the hackamore with the sheepskin noseband, heading back to the international warm-up area here at Spruce Meadows. He is such an incredibly strong rider. Here's a look at the only rider ever to win every international event at the Spruce Meadows Masters in 1 tournament year, Eddie Mackin. The quarter-century veteran of Irish show jumping, just shy of his half-century mark, comes to Spruce Meadows as the anchor rider for the Irish team with FAN Shalkar.
Well, Eddie Mackin has had some problems in finding horsepower, and FAN Shalkar is a horse that Eddie, he doesn't have the highest degree of confidence in. Doesn't say he's a world beater, but as a result of injury to his horse, Miss FAN, he's had to take this one on as his Olympic horse and his Masters horse. And FAN Shalkar has come through for him, and it's been remarkable to see how this horse has responded to the mastery of Eddie's riding.
48-year-old Eddie Mackin entrusted with the anchor position for the Irish team, and there they are looking on. Mullins, Lettingham, Peter Charles will be preparing to lead off the next round of competition. Eddie's still such a quiet rider.
Very difficult horse. This horse is extremely stiff. He can jump a big jump, but he doesn't use his back, and he doesn't really finish his jump with his hindquarters. Eddie, and he's just on the 4 faults. I have to say this is all due credit to Eddie Mackin's riding ability, getting this horse around this course with just 4 faults.
The luck of the Irish at the Canadian planks, those are totally flat cups. A rub by this big horse does not bring the Maple Leaf to a crash, as Eddie Mackin finishes up with 4 jumping faults, and the Irish, as they try and defend, have 12 faults in the first round.
2 rails away from Great Britain, who now appear to have a very strong lead. With just 1 team remaining in this first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup, notice the fleece on the cheek pieces of Shalkar's bridle. Those are to act as similar to blinkers.
Well, the United States needed Ann Krasinski to deliver, and they need the same from their great veteran, Michael Matz. Michael Matz, who last year, for the first time ever, competed at the Spruce Meadows Masters. This is a man with an incredible resume of competition. Rum 4, the horse he brought up here to see if he was ready, has since taken him to a silver medal at the Atlanta Olympic Games. Mike Matz from Collegeville, Pennsylvania, now revs the motor on this 13-year-old, and they need this combination to deliver if the United States is to stay in the running. They want to throw the 16 faults away of Peter Leone. Can Michael Matz answer the call?
Well, he certainly answered his own personal achievement call in Atlanta as his teammates look on.
Like the Canadians, the American women have delivered today. The men have had a bit of a tough going, and Michael Matz brings down that Irish vertical.
The silver medal in Atlanta was the icing on the cake for Michael Matz's career. Oh dear.
He owns 5 Pan American gold medals, a World Cup title with the great Jet Run, but he is really felling the Canadian lumber today on the international ring. And Rum 4 just seems to be out of control right now, or a little bit revved up.
Very revved up and not firing off of all cylinders. Not using his power or his RPMs to jump up over the fences. He's actually going right through them.
Very tense gallop stride on this bay horse, who is typically as athletic as you could ever imagine. But it is not working out the way that Michael Matz would have liked to see for the American effort here in the first round as they come towards the Canadian planks. However, there are 5 rails in the international ring here, 20 faults to finish off the American effort here in the first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
Michael Matz looking pretty disappointed, checking out Rum's legs. Perhaps he pulled a shoe. 20 faults is the discard score, and very disappointing for Michael Matz. The United States ends up with 24 faults after the first round.
The deck has been shuffled at Spruce Meadows, and the aces have risen in the form of the British team, clearly out in front after the first round of the Nations Cup. Back with our thoughts and the second round of action from Spruce Meadows right after this.
Paying attention to the smallest detail, getting to the destination the most efficient way possible, ensuring all individual elements are working together to drive high performance, and making sure you do it consistently. Being the best comes down to perfect execution. That's not just good show jumping. That's good railroading. We love a sport that rewards precision.
The first round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup now complete, Nancy. Some surprises, some disappointments, and some highlights.
Look at Great Britain. What a team. These guys have come back off a shocking performance at the Olympic Games in Atlanta. And here in Spruce Meadows, they have laid down 2 clear rounds, Jeff Billington and Michael Whittaker. And John Whittaker comes in with 4 faults. They lead the way, and I know that Nick Skelton will improve on his score.
You talk about disappointment, the American team.
Michael Matz, 20 faults, a very disappointing round for him, and Peter Leone on 16 faults. They're going to have to struggle to make it back into the top 3.
The Irish got a slow start, but Eddie Mackin and John Lettingham rode to the occasion.
John Lettingham was picture perfect, and Eddie Mackin surprising on FAN Shalkar. This horse isn't normally a clear or 4-fault horse. He's normally an 8 or 12-fault horse.
For Canada and the United States, they must reload and come out guns a-blazing.
Canada's looking good. The 2 women athletes, Beth Underhill and Linda Southern-Heathcott, just the 4 faults. If they can hang on to that, and if either Matt Cohen or Ian Miller can improve their scores, Canada could move up the leaderboard.
Can anyone catch the British? We'll find out when we return with the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. The United States certainly not wanting to be the first team in the second round. That means you're in last place. Michael Matz, a dejected veteran here, feeling he's let his team down, I would say.
And I think probably showing a great deal of concern over his horse. Well, the United States in the 6th and last position will be entering the ring first. So their first rider out, Peter Leone, giving the salute to Vice Chairman of the Bank of Montreal, Jeffrey Chisholm, who's joined by his wife, Mary Ellen, Kim Mackenzie, the daughter of General Louis Mackenzie of the Canadian Forces, and co-chairman Margan Ron Southern.
Well, we've got a battle going out here today with the nations of the world under the most competitive yet friendly circumstances imaginable. Some 50,000 people now here at Spruce Meadows on Holland Day as Peter Leone's teammates, Ann Krasinski, Leslie Burr Howard, and Michael Matz look on. 16 faults was the first round performance of Peter Leone aboard Crown Royal Legato. He'll look to better that as the leadoff rider.
One of the advantages in the Nations Cup format is that you jump this course twice. So you've had a chance to figure out where the problems are. Now the disadvantage, of course, is that your horse is tired. They're not used to jumping this many big rounds.
630 meters, 95 seconds the time allowed over this track that features 12 numbered obstacles, including a double and a triple combination, and of course the massive water jump, which hasn't played too much of a role today in the competition.
The bicycle coming down, but already Peter Leone is ahead of himself from his first round. He's got just the 4 faults, and he had incurred 16 first trip out.
If he could lead off with just the 1 rail, that would be a good start for the American chances as they try and scrap back here in the competition. The nations come back in the reverse order of performance from the first round of competition. So the Americans were last to go in the first round. They're first to go here in the second round of the Nations Cup.
Triple combination. Whoa, get up. And he does it. Crown Royal Legato doing an excellent job through the triple combination this time, clearing the Canada planks. That is a big round for the United States.
A great turnaround for the Stars and Stripes. Peter Leone from the Lion's Share Farm in New Jersey gets it done.
Just having the bicycle down, it looked to me like he was making still a bit of a turn going to jump number 6. He came around the corner, perhaps cutting it a bit and costing him the rail at the bicycle jump, but what an improvement.
From 16 faults in the first round to 4 second round faults. Now here's another man that needs to turn it around. Canada's Mac Cohen, 20 faults in the first round of competition. He's going to try and get this 11-year-old Hanoverian stallion jump-started. Elute nicely over the first fence.
It was very unfortunate for Mac that at the Pan American Games 2 years ago, this horse arrived in Puerto Rico injured. And this horse took 13 months of recuperation time without any competition, something that he could ill afford in his preparation for the Olympics this year. White Friendly watching on as Matt Cohen tries to improve his first round performance and squeaks out over jump number 5.
My goodness, he got lucky there. We've seen it come down so many times. Michel Vaillancourt really needs his team to deliver here. They've had a rather dynamic year in the Canadian show jumping scene and a disappointing performance at the Olympic Games. They really need to salvage something here in the second round.
Well, Matt Cohen is this stallion looking like a different horse in this round. You remember as he galloped to the water last time, he was kicking him in the belly. Well, this time Elute is paying strict attention to his rider, responding to everything that Mac has asked so far.
Now down this difficult line towards the outgate, see if he can keep the stallion focused and jumping nicely.
Never even laying a toe on a rail through the triple combination. You know, that's... Come on, do it! He's clear! Matt Cohen, a clear round.
Listen to the crowd here at Spruce Meadows, appreciative of a great effort, a clear round, and a huge turnaround for the spirits of the Canadian team. Matt Cohen on a clear round aboard Elute. You can't do it any better than that.
Matt Cohen saluting the fans of his nation here in Calgary. Over 48,000 people on hand in this Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. There's the Canadian flag going up, and Matt Cohen brings home a clear round for Canada.
Dutch leadoff rider Pete Rymackers next to go for the Netherlands. Jules Emerald is his mount. They were 8 in the first round of competition.
Boy, Ian, that just goes to show how the young horses, the young riders, their inconsistency is what can make or break a team. And the more experience you get competing at this high level, the better off your team is and the more that your team can count on you. This man, Pete Rymackers, has been jumping for the Dutch team since 1980.
Great veteran, of course, riding Ratina, the great Hanoverian mare, to a silver medal at the Barcelona Olympics and team gold. Certainly a highlight year of his career. Another interesting factor in Nations Cup competition is it's a long game. If you have a mistake, you've got to leave it behind you because it can be a long afternoon. Matt Cohen showing us that. Let's see if Pete Rymackers now can deliver after having 8 faults in the first round of competition.
That's a very good point, Ian. You have to, even when you're on course, if you have to have a rail, you have to put it behind you and keep going for your team. 4 faults in the triple combination for Pete. Did you see him turn around and look at the scoreboard there?
Nicely over the final fence, the Canadian signature fence, as Pete Rymackers puts the brakes on with Jules Emerald. 8 faults in the second round to match his first round performance. He wanted to be a little bit more like Matt Cohen, come out and deliver a clear to launch the second round effort for the Dutch. Canada's Matt Cohen is now standing by in the international warm-up area with our Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
Mac, much better day.
Much better. That's yeah. You know, that's just one of the disadvantages of going first. You know, and when we altered our plan, and it worked a lot better. You walk it one way and try it, and we had to make some adjustments, and it worked a lot better.
Well, congratulations, a better round.
Thank you.
A significant mood change for Matt Cohen between the first and second rounds, Nancy, and now we get into the thick of the competition with the United States, Canada, and Holland having dropped off the pace a bit. Franka Slotak in, the world champion, 4 faults in the first round.
Germany has to have a clear round from Franka, and a lot of things have to go wrong with Great Britain, and the rest of the Germans have to go clear if we want to be looking at Germany back in the gold medal position, or at least forcing Great Britain into a jump off.
Well, to go to your point, Franka near perfect in the first round, just 1 rail. We'll see now if he can, as the veteran he is, be like his teammate Ludger Beerbaum and deliver a clear.
Franka puts a lot of pressure on his horses. His legs are so strong, they're like steel clamped around these horses' bellies, and a constant feel of the mouth packages them up and makes them super spring-loaded for each of the jumps that they approach.
Germany had 12 faults in the first round of competition. They need desperately to have a clear delivered by their world champion.
Franka having a beautiful round here. It looks like he could have done this all day long. He's clear so far. Just 4 faults in the first round.
Down to this triple combination now. Oxer into the vertical quickly.
Boy, he just kept coming at that triple combination. He just attacked it and dared his horse, San Patrignano Jolie, to jump it, as he did the last jump. And Jolie rose to the occasion, jumped each of the fences. No faults at all for Germany's Franka Slotak.
Slotak delivers as he has throughout the years when it's most needed for Germany.
Look at the way Franka rides into this last jump. He's not afraid of it. He knows it's not going to come down. He attacks it. A clear round for the world champion.
Aboard the big chestnut San Patronano Jolie, Germany stays in the hunt, currently clear in the second round, 12 faults in the first round of competition. European champion Peter Charles aboard Benetton. He, like Franka Slotak, needs to improve on his first round performance. He had 8 faults. The Irish desperately need a clear to stay in the hunt, as they too had 12 faults in the first round of the Nations Cup.
Now, whilst the Irish did not get a medal in the team competition at the Olympics, Peter Charles ended up 11th individually at the Games, and he is the European champion.
He has an excellent 1-2 punch in international show jumping right now with this magnificent gray Benetton, but also with the chestnut gelding Laina. He may be as well mounted as anyone in the world right now.
Oh, Peter Charles looking very comfortable. He is so confident about himself and the way his horses are going. There's a look at Eddie Mackin, and in the white Stetson, chef de keep Ned Campion of the Irish team.
"36-year-old Peter Charles, leadoff man for the Irish, who won here in 1995 and have a tough row to hoe if they look to defend their title, because the British were very, very strong in the first round. They have a 2-rail edge over the Irish and the Germans leading into the second round of competition.
Right at the peak of his career, Peter Charles, he looks so confident, doesn't he? And it's different than a Franka Slotak. Peter Charles just looks comfortable.
Looking to deliver a clear round, as he does for the Irish, to keep them in the game here in defense of their Nations Cup title. Peter Charles showing us why he's the reigning champion of Europe in the sport of show jumping. Of course, the British have been a dominant force here over the years in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Let's meet their legendary rider and leadoff man, Nick Skelton.
By far the quickest man on the course today, Nick Skelton.
Skelton, one of the great speed riders. Look how he focuses his own eyes on the jump.
If he goes fast and leaves the jumps up, then you better have your running shoes on.
In a sport where time is the enemy, there is perhaps no faster rider than Nick Skelton. Skelton's career blasted off in 1978 when he first represented Great Britain. Since then, his victories have come as fast and furious as his horses. He's competed in over 100 Nations Cup, 4 Olympic Games, 4 World Championships, and 15 World Cup finals. He's also one of only a handful of riders to have won the Du Maurier Limited International not once, but twice, 1985 and 1993.
I think she must have had a bit of a scare. Don't know, it's not really the right preparation to be going in today, but I haven't had a chance to get her back in the ring, so I'll just have to ride her a bit stronger, I guess.
Time is still the enemy for Skelton outside the ring. He's a veteran rider with a veteran horse, the amazing Dollar Girl. The Hanoverian mare has taken Skelton on many a victory lap over the years. She is truly a legend in the sport. She is also 17 years old and nearing the end of her career.
Nick Skelton verzichtet. The rider retires, le cavalier abandonne.
Like Gretzky, Namath, Hull, Montana, and other legends of sport, Skelton may not win every competition he enters, but he still garners the respect of everyone in the sport. And his gold medal performance at the 1995 World Cup Finals proved that he still has what it takes to be a champion. His new mount, Showtime, is Skelton's hope for the future. Although they did not make a great impression in Atlanta, Skelton is hoping that this new young horse will be able to revive his old career. '96 has been a disappointing year for Nick Skelton and Dollar Girl, a recognition of the end of an era. But there is still the chance for one last big win.
Nick Skelton has authored so many stories here in Nations Cup, de Maurier International, and right through the speed division over the years, and now looking to improve upon the 12 faults he had in the first round of competition.
Already Nick looks like he's got everything reorganized, he's regrouped, and Showtime is looking a lot more settled in the very early going of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Oh, a rattle there at 4A. The British right now are leading by 2 rails. However, the Germans came back with a clear round from Franka Slotak, so they're not letting up. They've got the attack in a full press position.
Well, Showtime now has 1 round of Nations Cup competition under its belt here at Spruce Meadows, and that can make a difference. Horse a little bit more comfortable, having never been to Spruce Meadows, as the brothers Whittaker and Michael Bowman look on from the clock tower.
And Nick rode the water so much better that time. He had a foot in the water in the first round, along with 2 other rails, so he is by far better than he was to this point in round 1.
Last year it was Dollar Girl and limited edition he brought to the Masters. This year it's Showtime, and it looks like this 11-year-old mare may answer the call of the Union Jack with a clear round. Indeed, Nick Skelton keeps the British on pace for victory here with a clear round aboard Showtime.
That is great for the British. They have answered the challenge of the Germans out in the lead anyway. The British now have just the 0 faults and the 4 faults from the first round.
We're into the second horses on these 4-horse teams. Leslie Burr Howard on course for the United States aboard Ulan Duplessis. 8 faults in the first round for this mare that's been put up to the top level of the sport this week because of an untimely sidelining of Extreme, Leslie's Olympic silver medal horse.
So Leslie has gone to the trough and asked this horse, Ulan Duplessis, to rise to the occasion. That was her husband, Peter Howard, looking on. Oh, scoots through that 4AB5 line.
Peter Leon led the way for the Americans here in the second round with 4 faults, a great improvement over his 16-fault performance in the first round. Leslie did not want to see the bicycle come down.
Oh, and a good rattle at the British rails. The Americans very much in a struggling mindset right now. Michael Matz having 20 faults. Peter Leon not really improving on or helping the score in the first round with 16. He did improve with 4, but Leslie Burr Howard right now has got a lot of jumping left to do, and the Americans are sitting in last place in this Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
Well, it's interesting in that, much like tennis, there's different surfaces this sport is undertaken on, and Spruce Meadows is held on the lush grass, very different from the Atlanta jumping surface. 12 faults. Perhaps the Americans aren't so good on grass.
Well, the Americans are in it's just a struggling position right now. They're on horses that are not their number 1 horses. There's a look at Leslie's score, 12 faults, probably the cast-off score. First round total of 28 jumping faults.
So the plight of the North American teams continues here at Spruce Meadows as Leslie Burr Howard leaves her afternoon's work done here at the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Canada's Linda Southern Heathcote, who had a great 4-fault trip in the first round to salvage a dismal round by the Canadian leadoff rider Matt Cohen, Mack has since put in a clear on his second effort. Linda will look to match that, and that could really turn the Canadian fortunes around here. She's aboard Advantage Chrysler. She has to stay focused on the job at hand here.
A little bit slow down to the second jump. Oh, no.
Haven't seen
and
Mount
just
Rushmore down today. First time, I believe.
clipped it with a toe. Perhaps a bit tentative on her approach there to jump number 2. Now she's got a lot of jumping left, and that can be disheartening, but we talked about it before. You have to try and put your first round or any mistakes you've made out of your mind, because this is a team competition. The least number of faults cumulatively will win the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Linda's on 8 faults right now.
For the second time today, the big Irish vertical comes down for the Canadian entry. They cannot afford another rail. You don't want to be the throwaway score for your country. Michelle Vaillancourt looking on.
Pretty tentative at this point in time. Here's
Nicely
the
over
water, yep. And now this very intimidating line of jumps, the German vertical to the triple combination. Linda saying whoa, getting her horse back for the triple. Oh, got right underneath the C element. Not as controlled or as contained as in the first round. Oh, jeez.
And he mowed down the final planks. Not a very good effort by the big Hanoverian gelding there, as Linda Southern Heathcote finishes up on 16 faults here in the second round. Canada most certainly will be throwing that score away. However, Beth Underhill and Ian Miller still to come for the Canadian group. Tough afternoon, or a tough second round for Linda Southern Heathcote. Jan Tops aboard Apparet La Sia brings in the Dutch tricolor as the next entry to go for the Dutch side in today's competition. 4 faults in the first round. This great veteran will look to have the first clear round for the Netherlands. They desperately need it. One of the things about the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup, aside from reigning supreme in international team show jumping, is if you're the last placed European team, you do not get an invitation back the following year. It's one of the precedents that's been set. It's an added incentive for the competition.
And it's a tradition that has stood Spruce Meadows in good stead over the years, because as a result, the teams each send their very best riders. They want to come back to the Masters. It's the only time they can jump for $1.5 million in prize money over the course of the week.
It's also the only time they can jump for $200,000 in the Nations Cup, with prize money not only going to the athletes but also to the federations. So the added incentive for the federations to send their best possible horsepower with the right pilots. Jos Lansing, one of the world's greats, looking on, teammate of Jan Tops as he approaches the water.
Clearing the water, Apparet La Sia looking very fresh, happy. Jan Tops just does a soldier's job, working a lot of horses, competing on the road all the time, looking to buy horses, training the La Sia stable, and Pancho Romo, and his wife, Tanny Top-Ziegler.
An incredibly smooth round for the Dutch superstar, 4th ranked in the world. Jan Tops with Apparet La Sia, and the Dutch needed the clear today to stay in the hunt.
They improved their score by 4 faults. Jan Tops moving into a clear round position, helping out the Dutch team. Pete Rymackers, not a bad score with just 8 faults.
This is a very difficult track today, and as you can see, the slightest margin of error results in faults being added on as the Germans come forward with Rolf Schneider. Classic touch by Sprehe.
8 faults in the first round. This 25-year-old youngster showing that he is a force not to be dismissed on the German team. He's been put into this slot as the 4th rider, the youngster, replacing the great Ulrich Kirchhoff, who won the individual gold medal in Atlanta. His horse meeting an untimely death due to colic.
What a shock to the world of show jumping with Jeu de Paume. Just weeks after that great Olympic triumph, succumbing to colic. Such strong animals with such sensitive systems at times.
And Ralph Schneider, and classic touch by Spray, stepping into some mighty big horseshoes, having to fill some big shoes.
To keep up with the precedent that such men as Ludger Beerbaum have set. Now, we were commenting earlier in the week that the Germans are so deep, a little bit like Canadians with hockey players. The loss of Jeu de Paume, although very tragic, to replace that horse with a horse that's already won an Olympic gold medal in the individual in Barcelona, it's nice to have that depth.
Not in bad shape at all. Well, that horse helped Ralph through the triple combination. That was a piece of work done by that horse that was absolutely phenomenal. Ralph Schneider of Germany coming home with just the 4 faults, improving his score. Again, a fantastic job stepping into those shoes of Ulrich Kirchhoff.
Very important to improve on your first round performance, if at all possible, to stay in the hunt here at Spruce Meadows. Ralph Schneider with just the 1 rail, and if that turns out to be the throwaway for the Germans, they will have really come around in the second round of competitions. They had 12 faults in the first round, and right now are carrying 4 here at Spruce Meadows for the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Commandant Jerry Mullins of the Irish Cavalry into the ring with Mill Street Ruby. A perfect round until they got to the triple combination, and then the wheels fell off.
All 3 of the wheels, the rails in the triple combination, came down. Those were his only faults in the first round. So if he sorted out how to ride the triple combination, he could give us, or give Ireland, a fault-free performance.
Leadoff man Peter Charles with Benetton has come into the second round with a clear round. Now, after a 12-fault trip in the first round, Commandant Jerry Mullins looking to sort things out for the Emerald Isle.
This is a neat Irish-bred horse. Jerry getting awfully close, actually wanting to take off too far away from the triple combination, or the triple bar, and his horse, Mill Street Ruby, helping him out there all the way down that line.
This mare has a tendency when she gets into this big ring to get excited and sense the pressures and start to drag Jerry to the fences. It's important that he keeps the upper hand with her. A very strong rider, Commandant Jerry Mullins, on a very strong horse.
Good effort there. Mill Street Ruby from Noel C. Duggan's breeding program in Ireland. Oh, and the hind leg catches the water jump. Now that is so unusual. She cleared the tape with her front legs and just kind of stepped back with a hind leg catching a rail. Here's the triple combination. Has he figured it out?
Nicely in over the vertical. Can they get out? Yes, they do. Jerry Mullins just with the foot at the water right now for 4 faults.
Jerry Mullins.
Oh, a fantastic recovery by Mullins on Mill Street Ruby. 4 faults at the water. However, they figured out the problems. Now let's watch this. She gets over the tape and her back foot kicks out. Clearing it, there it is, the back foot.
A tough break, no doubt about it. However, a great camera angle on Mill Street Ruby having a foot at the lathe in Jerry Mullins' 51st Nations Cup over an incredible career. Nonetheless, a good improvement over the 12-fault performance in the first round for the combination from Ireland. The Netherlands has had a second round clear posted by Jan Tops on Operette La Silla. Jan Tops is standing by with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
Yeah, and a great day, really. Looking good. Looking forward to tomorrow?
Yeah, the horse jumped fantastic, Operetta, today. She jumped also good yesterday. Unfortunately, it doesn't count for tomorrow, but tomorrow I'm riding Top Gun. He was yesterday also in good form, and we just need that little bit luck tomorrow. That's all we need.
And the Netherlands' chances?
It doesn't look too good. I don't think we end up by the first 3. It's going to be more, around the fourth, maybe 5th place. Okay, it is a team competition, so, you rely on members, and one day is the one good and one day the other. So let's hope for the best.
Well, good day.
Thank you.
A look at one of the most impressive horses in the world today. It's Otto with Jeff Billington clear in the first round, and if he puts in a clear round here, the British may well be on their way to a convincing 10th win here in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
Look at this horse explode over the jumps. He looks like he's 2 years old, and he is playing with these obstacles like they're little sticks on the ground. I don't think that there is a more sought-after horse than It's Otto. Look at that! A foot over 4B. This is the second round of competition. This is the 4th day of the Masters. 6th individually at the Atlanta Olympics, and Jeff Billington, we may have to rename the British team. It used to be the Fab Four, led by the three amigos. It may now be Billington's Bandits as they leap over these jumps with no problem. Look at Nick
Skelton.
and Mike.
They're smirking.
John, they're just smiling at how this horse jumps the jumps.
It's a good one to have crossed the channel, as it were, because It's Otto, a Dutch bred, 10-year-old gelding, celebrating Holland Day today with the Union Jack on the saddle pad here. If he puts in 2 clear rounds, it's a new jacket for Jeff Billington from the association.
Oh, my goodness. Not a toe wrong. Oh, as I completely jinxed him.
He mows down the Canadian planks, just could not get, I think Jeff maybe got It's Otto a little deep to that final fence, could not get the landing gear up. 4 faults. Nonetheless, this crowd of 48,000 plus is just astonished by the ability of this horse.
Oh, that's so unfortunate because Jeff came in on a bit of an angle. It's Otto was playing with these obstacles. Just the 4 faults at the Canada planks, but Great Britain nonetheless looking pretty fancy. 4 faults from the first round, a clear and a 4 in the second, and they are definitely in the lead.
We're halfway through the second round of the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Britain continues to lead the way. Back with more from Spruce Meadows right after this.
At WestJet, we believe that we can go further together. In today's climate, that means working together to make sure we can all travel safely. Since the onset of the COVID crisis, our teams have been working around the clock to develop and implement new procedures and cleaning protocols to keep you and our crews safe. And this work will continue to evolve. When you're ready to travel again, know that we will be ready too. On behalf of all of us at WestJet, take care and stay well.
The Americans desperately in search of a clear round here in the Nations Cup at the Spruce Meadows Masters, and Ann Krasinski, the 3rd rider of the second round aboard Eros, will look to deliver for the United States as she's done for so many years, carrying the Stars and Stripes into combat, World Championship, Olympic Games.
And Leslie Burr Howard, her teammate, had 8 faults in the first round, 12 in the second. The ladies seem to be having a bit of a problem with worse scores. That was true with Linda Southern Heathcott as well. Here's Annie on Eros now.
This horse evidently responds to the crowd here at Spruce Meadows, the massive crowd, larger than they encounter at the Olympic Games even, in a negative way. She feels the horse gets distracted somewhat, has the ears packed with cotton. Trying to keep Eros concentrating on his job. The delicate mindset of the thoroughbred.
It's an interesting consideration. Is it really the horse that has the problem with the crowd, or is it the athletes? When they come to Spruce Meadows, there are few venues in the world where they experience the stadium effect, the X factor, the intangible of flags and bands and so much prize money. This is like a professionals championship here.
It's a huge stadium. The international ring here at Spruce Meadows can accommodate 6 NFL football fields. There is lots of room to travel for these horses over the green turf. It's ideal jumping conditions today here at Spruce Meadows. About 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius, little or no wind.
Annie characteristically talking her way around this course with arrows, and that is consistency for you.
2 4-fault performances today for American veteran Ann Krasinski aboard Eros, and she's happy with the day's work of this Australian-bred thoroughbred.
That really helps the United States in their quest to move up the leaderboard, so they'll probably be able to drop. Well, having said that, Michael Matz had a terrible first round, so they're hoping to drop the 12-fault round of Leslie Burr Howard.
Well, we saw Matt Cohen turn it around. Perhaps Michael Matz will be able to do it for the United States. As we look at Beth Underhill aboard Monopoly, the reigning Canadian show jumping champion, who in the first round had but 1 mishap for 4 faults. They need her to answer the challenge now. The ladies for Canada were great in the first round. However, Linda Heathcott came back in the second round with a 16-fault performance. Let's see if Beth put in a near disaster at the Oxer.
You know, he did a double take at that triple bar in the first round, and that time just swam right through it, almost unseating Beth. What a recovery for Beth. She made it scrambled back off his neck and back into the saddle.
Great recovery for Beth Underhill. She's now got to leave it behind and stay with this course. This course has no margin for error. The stakes are high.
That is a terrible feeling as a rider when you go swimming around the ground. And look at now, she's overriding the water. Never found the right spot, had to give it a super hard gallop, and she stepped on the tape there.
Canada's bubble deflating somewhat here in the second round of the Nations Cup. It started on a high note with a clear round, but Monopoly could not handle the width of some of these jumps here in the second round of competition.
Having taken the summer off, it looks like Monopoly does not quite have the stamina, the fitness to jump this major league course. 12 faults. Disappointing for Beth Underhill, Monopoly, and Canada. Here's a look at the triple bar. Look at this horse. He just left the ground with no power. He knew he couldn't make it across, so he was looking for something to push off from. Oh, a 0 from Matt Cohen. Remarkable recovery there. 16 for Linda Southern Heathcott, and now 12 for Beth Underhill. That really hurts the Canadian team.
Beth Underhill wanted a trip around this course like Ann Krasinski had with Eros. Ann Krasinski is standing by with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
And really a good day, but that one fence, what's happening out there?
Yeah, I don't know. The first round, I thought I argued with him too much. I got a little deep in the 8. I forget how big his stride is out on the field. So I blame myself for the first round. And then the second round, I met it just like I thought he'd like me to meet it, and he still had it down. So I don't know. I don't know why he knocked it down.
It's a good day, though.
Yeah, I'm delighted.
Now the Dutch rider Bert-Jan van der Schaans comes on to try and have a 4-fault or better trip to keep the Netherlands in the hunt here. Not only are they wanting to win, as is every nation here at the Masters Tournament, but that European incentive, Nancy. The Netherlands and Ireland right now seem to be really scrapping it out to see who's going to be the last place European team and not earn a ticket back here.
Well, Ian, barring a complete disaster from Michael Whittaker and John Whittaker, there is no way the Netherlands at this point in time can catch Great Britain. Germany still has a chance. Perhaps Ireland has a chance. But Holland is really out of it. So now what they don't want to be is last of the European teams. So Bert-Jan van der Schaans has a different objective. He wants to move up the leaderboard, capture some of the $200,000 in prize money in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup, and make sure that his team is left off of that 747 in 1997 for the Calgary Spruce Meadows Masters.
Well, it's unlikely that the British effort of Michael Whittaker and John Whittaker will fall apart. Michael and John hold down the number 2 and 3 all-time money positions here at Spruce Meadows in career earnings. Just a cool $1.5 million between the two of them as Global Leroy Brown comes through the triple combination towards the last fence for Holland.
And he's improved his score. 8 faults in the first round. Global Leroy Brown came back for Bert-Jan van der Schaans. and just 4 faults.
As we noticed in Atlanta, Nancy, and here at the Masters Tournament, you've got to come out in the second round and improve your performance. If you were 4, you need to go clear. If you were 12, you need to go 4, or else you have no way of playing in this game. We look at For Pleasure with Lars Nieburg, seeing if he can continue that German tradition. He was 8 faults in the first round aboard this really impressive 10-year-old Hanoverian stallion. Second at the World Cup final. I'm sorry, Nancy.
Well, I was just going to say that this stallion is such an appealing horse to the eye. It's not a heavy horse. He's light. He's a beautiful type. He doesn't look like the old style of Hanoverian or the draft horse type. In fact, he's even got a little patch of white on his belly. You might even say he was a paint horse. He was so impressive in Atlanta, and he has been very impressive here at Spruce Meadows.
Seems to very much like the international ring environment here. Rolf Schneider looking on with Dr. Nicely over the water.
The German team now has a clear performance turned in by Franka Slotak. 4 faults from Rolf Schneider. They need the clear from Lars Nieburg. They need this clear if there's any chance of catching the British.
8 faults in the first round, nicely through the combination. All that's left is the planks.
And we've seen them come down enough times. Oh, he squeaks over them, not touching them. A beautifully effective and efficient round. Lars Nieburg does it for Germany. He handles the task. A clear round, and the Germans have thrown down the gauntlet to the British.
Tightening the screws on Great Britain, putting the pressure on as Germany's Lars Nieburg answers the challenge of the international ring here at Spruce Meadows with a clear round aboard For Pleasure.
And we go to Ireland.
Beautiful day for show jumping here as we see the back warm-up area. A clear round in the first round was delivered by this combination. Captain John Lettingham with Kilbaha. They need to do the same here.
Kilbaha clear in the first round, as you said, Ian, and he needs the clear here. Ireland tied with Germany in the first round with just 12 faults. They have a 0 and a 4. Germany able to deliver another 0 in the second round, and that's what Ireland needs to do. We could see a 3-team jump off here if all the cards fell where they may.
This combination, 2-time champions of the Hickstead Derby. Captain John Lettingham, longtime veteran of the Irish team. Not need that. The Dutch bicycle comes down, as do the British guardhouses.
That cost them. You know, the Irish in Dublin never had a fence down, but they had 1 rider with a 1/4 of a fault. Well, the British team had 1 rider with 8 faults and another rider with 4 faults. Scores they were able to discard. But because of the time faults on a couple of the riders from the Irish team, never having a fence down, they ended up second to the British. So the Irish were determined to capture and defend their title once again, the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup.
We will not see a double clear from Captain John Lettingham. Let's see if he gets it done with 8. It does not happen. Kilbaha, 12 jumping faults here in their second round effort in the Nations Cup. That, I suspect, will be the Irish throwaway score, with Eddie Mackin still to come on FAM Shalkar.
12 faults for Captain John Lettingham. And right now, Ireland will have to add, we'll count on Eddie having a clear round, so Ireland would add 4 faults for a total of 16.
As we bring on a piece of history ourselves in Michael Whittaker, two-step two, a crowd favorite here at Spruce Meadows after their spectacular win in the De Maurier International here in 1995 against the likes of Franka Slotak and Ludger Beerbaum in a jump-off. And now looking to carry the Union Jack to victory once again here.
Well, the British have quite a cushion. They're coming into the second round with 4 faults. Showtime and Nick Skelton already laid down a clear trip. It's Otto had the last fence down, so they've got 4 faults. They would add that to their first round 4 for a total of 8 at this point in time. Now, if Michael Whittaker has a rail, that would be 12 faults for the British team, which is exactly where the German team would be if Ludger Beerbaum can put in a clear round. And there's the 4 faults from Michael Whittaker.
British guardhouses come down, the pressure mounts here. Brother John Whittaker not wanting to have to ride. It's been often the case here at Spruce Meadows. He has not had to go on a number of occasions in the Nations Cup because his teammates have delivered and no one has been able to catch them. Will such be the case here in 95? 4 faults now. There's no room for error for two-step.
Oh, beautifully through the triple combination. Michael Whittaker working every inch of the way around this course. He can't have another rail. And now the British, if John Whittaker doesn't ride, have a total of 12 faults. If Ludger Beerbaum comes in and goes clear, the Germans would have a total of 12 faults. John Whittaker would be forced to ride, and he'd need a clear if Britain was not to go into a jump-off. Then they'd have a total of 8.
It's as clear as that. Back with our final riders from Spruce Meadows right after this. Michael Matz to the first fence aboard Rum. 20 faults in the first round, Nancy. So uncharacteristic of this great, great show jumper.
Well, we'll see if the North Americans are going to stay true to form. Matt Cohen came out with 20 faults as well, and he improved. He had a clear round. We'll see if that holds true for Michael Matz.
This looks like a different horse.
Much better. Lots of air over that 4AB combination.
It's like Rum 4 knows he's playing now.
Exactly. Anne and Leslie breathing a sigh of relief.
He's ridden such great horses. Of course, Jet Run, the General. He believes that in this horse, Rum 4, he's sitting on as much quality as he has ever taken into the ring for the United States. He's looking to prove it now after a very poor outing in the first round of the Nations Cup.
And he's certainly doing that. He cleared the water. He's been through half of the course, some of the most difficult parts. And now the triple combination. Powers in, hold back off this rail, gets it done.
George Morris calls Michael Matz a maestro of this sport. Oh, and a tough break. The planks, as we saw with It's Otto. The final fence comes down, but Michael Matz with a vast improvement over his first round performance. 4 jumping faults. That will be a keeper for the United States. They'll throw away Leslie Burr Howard's score. Michael Matz finishes up his day here at Spruce Meadows.
Oh, a much improved score, so we'll throw out the 12. We add the 3 4s for an additional 12, and we have a total of 40 faults for the United States.
A look down from high above the international ring where we look for the arrival of Captain Canada, Ian Miller. Now, Canada has no shot at winning this, but Ian Miller has to do better than 8 faults so they don't tie the Americans in last place. He's been in the pressure position oh so many times, most of the time with Big Ben. However, in Auckland earlier this year, we watched him put in a double clear in the Nations Cup with this young horse, a 9-year-old gelding.
So if he goes clear or with just 4 faults, Canada will be 5th and the United States 6th. If he has 8 faults, Canada ties the United States with a 40 fault total after 2 rounds.
Crowd here riding every fence with their national show jumping hero, Ian Miller.
The experiences that this horse has received this year, the Olympic trials, the European Tour, the Olympic Games, have made such a vast improvement on his technique.
Putting a little leg on this big gelding as they rev up to go to the water. Oh, lazy by the gelding there over the water. Did not try to jump it at all.
Just splat right in the water.
No room for error now. A rail will tie them with the United States. 2 rails through this line will put Canada into last.
Oh, beautifully through the triple combination. Now settle in, wait for it, and get there. Oh, he's right under it. Oh!
Sums up the day. The Canadian flag comes crashing down, and with it, Team Canada's hopes of rising to the occasion on Nations Cup Day. 8 faults for Ian Miller. That will mean 40 faults over 2 rounds to tie equal last with the Americans here at Spruce Meadows. Jos Lansing fires up the big gray stallion Visa Cartaiga Z. And now the Dutch need a clear round. It's been delivered by Jan Tops. Let's see if Jos Lansing can answer that precedent from his Olympic gold medal teammate with a clear round with this big gray horse.
Clear round will give the Netherlands 20 faults. Oh! Did he power out of that?
It appears that the Netherlands are gunning it out for the bronze medal here right now with Ireland. And with that, of course, the ticket back next year.
Sharp turn that Jos made. And this horse is absolute poetry in motion. Oh, a good rattle at the British rails. Very similar in his style and technique to the great Milton of John Whittaker. And that white, beautiful body and tail.
Just arriving in his formative years, if Jos Lansing can bring this horse along as he has done with other great horses, they will certainly be amongst the best in the world for years to come. Right now, they're looking for a clear round for the Netherlands.
Look at that horse. A youngster compared to a lot of the veteran horses, but the quality he has, wanting to jump the jumps clear, knowing if he jumps higher, he'll give himself more room to use his legs, and a clear round for Holland gives them a total of 20 faults.
The Dutch veterans answered the challenge. Jan Tops and Jos Lansing, when they most needed it, clear rounds here to put them into an enviable position for a medal. However, the Irish will try and impact that with the great veteran Eddie Mackin as we look down at Ludger Beerbaum of Germany.
Well, the Germans were third after the first round. They have moved themselves into a position to tie Great Britain. If Ludger can go clear, the British will have to send John Whittaker. If he makes a mistake, the Germans will be in second place.
Great pressure now. The crowd's silent. They know the stakes here at Spruce Meadows. They're watching the #1 ranked rider in the world from Germany, Ludger Beerbaum, owner of 3 Olympic gold medals, a World Cup title, a World Championship gold, into the combination, in and out with, rush on, pulls a rail, the front rail.
And Ludger Beerbaum, I think that Ludger, and there's the Brits. They know, they won. They won.
The spirit of sportsmanship. They love to beat the Germans at Spruce Meadows or anywhere else for that matter. The mood has lightened in the hitching ring as Ludger Beerbaum aboard Spray Rush On has dealt himself out of a gold medal in today's Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. He's calculated it and retired.
Exactly. I think that Ludger just figured out he's not going to improve his team standings, so he will retire. The Germans are in second place. The British have won. John Whittaker does not have to go. The British have a total of 12 faults, the Germans a total of 16.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to what comes next. And to help you with whatever your next looks like. To help you make progress and come back even better than before. How do we know it's going to be okay? Because for the 200 years BMO's been in business, we've seen what you're capable of. And we've got your back for 200 more. That's better.
A lot at stake here. You could call this a $1.5 million question for Eddie Mackin. Although the gold medal today has slipped away, they're fighting it out for the bronze. Nick Skelton doing his arithmetic back there. He wants to make sure he's won in his own mind before they tell John to get off his horse. John's already off his horse, so he's decided they've won. And here comes Eddie Mackin.
Eddie only has a one rail cushion. The Netherlands right now holding down third spot with 20 faults. And that's what Ireland would love to have.
A clear guarantees it.
A clear would actually give them 16, and the Netherlands would be 4. 4 faults from Eddie gives them a tie with the Netherlands, and anything more than that means the Irish team will not be back in 1997.
The plot thickens.
There's the 4 faults, so now they're tied. Ireland and Holland tied, and there's the British team.
Very relaxed. Michael Matz congratulating the Brits on a day he would have liked to experience, and it's not a rail, it's the water. Just like with Ian Miller, the 2 great veterans of this sport, Miller and Mackin, both catch the water.
I don't think Mackin quite understands now. Well, that's not true. He knows that Kilbaha with John Lettingham had 12 faults, so he's only on 8, and he thinks that he can improve the Irish. He cannot. The 8 faults mean Ireland will not return as a team to the 1997 Masters. They finish with 24 faults. Now let's go down to Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, who's standing by with Michael Matz.
The Bank of Montreal Nations Cup has proved not to really be North America's day. Michael Matz was with the U.S. team. Michael, a bit of a tough ride in the first round. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. He jumped good the first day I showed him here, and I went in there, and it wasn't like him to go in and knock that many fences down. And in some ways, I thought, well, maybe he's tired that he isn't from Atlanta, and the other ways, well, maybe I need to do more. In the second round, I even worked him harder.
A little bit disappointing for the whole U.S. team?
Yeah, we didn't get started off in a good note. Leslie's mare got sick, and it was just one of those things that the English probably will win today, and you know, they had a terrible time at the Olympics and went right to Dublin and won the Nations Cup there and come here. So it's just, you just never know with these Nations Cups, that's for sure.
Well, you never do know, and Ian Allison is standing by with some very happy group of riders.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a spectacular day for show jumping here at Spruce Meadows, the Empire strikes back. Great Britain goes metric with their 10th win in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. And Michael Bowman, you have led an incredible charge for the British.
Fantastic. My boys are like vintage wine. They get better with age.
They get better with age indeed, and over the last 2 decades we've been treated to such sport. And over those 2 decades, Ronnie Massarella and yourself have brought great teams here to Spruce Meadows.
Yeah. It's a shame Ronnie's not here, but he had a bereavement in his family, but he's been on the phone every day asking how they're going, and he said, you'll win all 4. Well, we've got 2, we've got the other 2 to come.
Well, we know he's watching back in Great Britain, and I'd now like to introduce you to a great friend of this sport, a man who has witnessed most of your wins here at Spruce Meadows, Jeffrey Chisholm, Vice Chairman of the Bank of Montreal.
Well, thank you, Ian, very much. Again, I think you'd all agree we had wonderful sport today. I'm going to have the pleasure in a minute to present another $50,000 check, and 10 times 50 is starting to get into some meaningful money, so congratulations to you and to the boys. It was a wonderful day.
Jeffrey, you've seen sport over the decades here. It was just spectacular today.
I think it's the most demanding course I've ever had the pleasure to see. There were no double clears. Absolutely outstanding competition, and the contrast from one round to another made great sport all the way around. The course designer should be congratulated.
And now the reward for the effort on Team Great Britain, the presentation of the check, this the world's richest Nations Cup. Mr. Chisholm?
Well, Michael, with our pleasure from the Bank of Montreal to Britain for the 10th time, very, very well deserved.
$50,000 to the riders from Great Britain, an additional $10,000 going to the Federation in Great Britain. And now with the fingerprints of Ronnie Massarella deeply entrenched on the Nations Cup, I'll invite you, Michael Bowman, to lift from the podium the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup 1996 champions. Incredible sport in the Bank of Montreal Nations Cup. Great Britain continues the tradition, a 10th win here at Spruce Meadows.
Super turnaround for the British team, coming off a disastrous performance in Atlanta. Coming back, they won in Dublin, they were second in Rotterdam, and they came to the Masters ready to win again, and they did it. They laid it down, and nobody could catch them, not even the gold medal German team.
They went by the Germans to the top of the medal podium here at Spruce Meadows. It's a tradition they've established over the years. This is their home court.
It was a great thing to see. In fact, as co-chairman Ron Southern said, it was spine-tingling performances that the British riders turned in.
On the day, it's a day for the Union Jack, a day for Great Britain here at Spruce Meadows. And now on behalf of Nancy Southern and Pollyanna Hardwick Brown, I'm Ian Allison. So long from the Spruce Meadows Masters.